I want you to think about something that you want very much in your life, something that's important to you, something that you have a hunger for. Those of you that know me, have been following me and know my story, you know my story because I've been telling my story. That I was born in an abandoned building in a poor section of Miami, Florida called Liberty City with a twin brother. And that's Wesley on the right, that's me on the left, and that's Mrs. Mamie Brown. I always say God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. And that narrative is going to change because February 17th, I turned 76 and something happened. I began to look at and reflect on my life. Here's Wesley and I, raised in poverty, starting out from nothing. And I want you to listen to me closely. You have something special. You have seeds of greatness in you. But those seeds will not manifest until you take time for self-reflection, to invest in yourself, to cultivate them so they can grow and expand and manifest itself in your life so that you can live a life of greatness. So Wesley and I, starting out with nothing, two of us there eating sugar cane. Poor section of Miami, Florida called Liberty City. Wesley and I. And so for the past 52 years, I was telling the story about this lady who she met my birth mother, and they had a moment where she had to determine. Several people came to this place where she was, and she talked to them shortly, and then looked at my godfather, he said, and said, no, that's not the one. But when she met a person named Dorothy Bell Rucker, she told my godfather, this is the one. They talked for a little while, and she handed Wesley and I over to her. Now keep in mind, I said to you, you have seeds of greatness in you. So I never knew my birth mother. But there's something in you and in me. We're the children of the ones that would not die. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We've come over a way that with tears have been watered. They've come treading a path through the blood of the slaughtered. And so, I want you to follow me. I've never laid eyes on either one of my parents. I wonder, what did my father do? What did he look like? And so this past weekend, I got a chance. That's my father. Oliver Randolph, out of Gainesville, Georgia. They said he was a sharp dresser, handsome guy, ladies' man. I don't know where I got that from. And I wondered. Finally got a picture, got a chance to see him and talk to some of the other Randolphs. Oliver Randolph. My original name was Calvin Randolph. My twin brother's original name was Alvin Randolph. And then, remember what I said, you have seeds of greatness in you. This is my birth mother. Her name, Dorothy Bell. She was a motivational speaker. You know, they talk about nurture or nature. A motivational speaker. Whoa! It would be criminal for somebody to deny that that's my mother. Ancestry and 23andMe, my son consulted both of those, and that's the match. Both of those. That's my birth mother. They said she could speak, and she had a sense of humor. She was funny, and she could play a piano and play it so good she could make it walk. She played by ear, and she wrote poems, and she was a teacher. And this is my grandmother. That's Dorothy Bell Rucker. Rucker. And this is Beulah Rucker, her mother, my grandmother. And I read an article. Now, mind you, my book is entitled, my latest book, You Gotta Be Hungry. That's been my whole career, how I became a disc jockey. You gotta be hungry. Those of you who know me, you know me by that. You gotta be hungry. It said that Beulah Rucker was hungry to learn. Hungry to learn, so hungry, she taught herself the alphabets and how to read from newspaper that was used on the wall to keep the cold winter air out in Gainesville, Florida. She was driven, unstoppable. Went to college and had no money. Who does that? Somebody that's hungry to learn. And they asked her for money. She held her hands out and said, "These two hands can work." And the head of the school turned her away. And she came back and said, as she looked at him, "These two hands can work." Now, if somebody tell you, come on, give me a break. Next, you gonna show up again? She was hungry to learn. These two hands can work. This time, he relented. This time, he let her in. This time, he gave her chores to do. She milked cows, and she worked for other teachers and did whatever work that was available for them so she can get an education. And she graduated with honors. And she started a school, only school in Gainesville for Black kids, teaching them a variety of professional skills. And she was so good, the community honored her. She did it for 40 years. And they honored her by turning the school into a museum. And people just go to Gainesville, Georgia, to see this place that my grandmother, who was a motivational speaker, who was a force to be reckoned with. Boy, she's quite a woman. Wow. I've been looking at her. I've been looking at her. I've been thinking about her determination, her hunger to learn. She built a house. All she had were nails, a saw, and a hammer. The house still stands. Her grandmama was a bad somebody up in here, up in here. She was friends with Eleanor Roosevelt. People believed in her. She was a voice of influence. I had this hunger in me. I don't know where it came from. I thought, and I didn't. This is where it came from. When this woman gave me to this woman. Millions of people's lives changed around the world because this woman gave me to this woman, Mrs. Mamie Brown. Dorothy Bell Rucker. Mrs. Mamie Brown said, "That's the one. That's the one." When she was looking for a way to find a house that I told her that I would buy for her, she said, "That's the one." And Dorothy Bell Rucker said when she met Mamie Brown, "That's the one I want to give my boys to. That's the one." That statement, "That's the one," has been in my life. If you go on YouTube and you Google Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome, you will hear me use that statement. That's the one. I am the one, sir. I'm the one. Go on, Google it. Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome. That's Beulah Rucker's grandson and Dorothy Bell Rucker's son. And Dorothy Bell picked this woman out and said, my God the Father said, she got up in her face and they looked and their nose almost touched. And she backed away just a little bit and said, "Give me my boys, Mr. Moss," and put us in the arms of Mamie Brown. And she asked her, "You promised never to separate my boys?" And she said, "I won't." "You promised to take good care of them?" And she said, "I will." He got real close and looked in Mamie Brown's eyes and looked at Mr. Moss and said, "That's the one." Mamie Brown only had a third-grade education, but my grandmother was educated, and Beulah Rucker, and my mother, Dorothy Bell, was educated and became a teacher. And so Mamie Brown took me through this. Oh, but there was something in me that poverty couldn't contain. Come on, somebody. Something in me that I got from this woman here. And this woman here. And this woman here. Oh my goodness. Wow. Look at God. Oh my goodness. Oh. This past weekend has been the happiest day of my life. My brother, George Rucker, I called him and I said, "Sir, my name is Les Brown. Ancestry and 23 and 2, or whatever that is, said that your mother is my mother." He said, "Well, that makes you my brother." He said, people called him and said, "What did you say when Les Brown called you?" He told me that he was Dorothy Bell, which is my mother, our mother, son. I said, "Well, that makes you my brother." And they asked, "That's all?" He said, "Yes." "Didn't you ask how did that happen?" He said, "It didn't matter how it happened. What matters is he's here. And we're going to move forward with love." Let me tell you something. My brother accepted me, arms wide open. My niece Greer, my first cousin Angie, my first cousin Sweetie, Mario Rucker, and her daughter. Boy, man, boy, you know, I just had no idea. I had no idea. Oh boy. Had no idea. This is a book. You think? Oh my goodness. Tyrone said, "I'll write it." Oh my goodness. I've been processing this. I got in bed and I was eating some Chunky Monkey ice cream for therapy. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, I had to stop. My blood sugar level went up sky high. Oh my goodness. Oh. Mind-blowing possibilities. Let me share this with you. You remember Mustafa? You are more than that which you have become. The seed in me that I got from my grandmother, from both my mothers and my father. You're more than that which you have become. And it's been driving me, and I did not know why. Even in periods of my life, I was temporarily insane. And who says I'm all the way here now? Talking to squirrels. Oh boy. I'm so grateful. I can't wait to meet the rest of the Ruckers and the Randolphs. I'm going to Gainesville tomorrow. My children say, "We want to go with you." Well, you better get here. They coming. I don't know when they coming down. I wasn't coming out the house. But for my family, the Ruckers and the Randolphs and Gainesville. I got to go down and see my peeps, and I don't put anything off. No. I'm not going to be waiting 2 or 3 weeks. No. I got to see my peeps. I'm going to go to the museum. I'm going to meet with the Randolphs and the rest of the Ruckers. I come bearing gifts. Oh boy. I told him, I said, I don't want anything from you. I just want to know my brothers. I got 2 brothers. One Rudy and the other one George Rucker. Boy, look at God. He just, I'm 76. You know how long I've been waiting on this? 76. I'm 76. I used to think people in their 40s were old. Now I feel like I've been shining shoes at the Lord's Supper or waiting tables. Where's that Randolph boy? He's around here somewhere. Tell him Jesus wants some more wine. He needs some more wine. He's going to turn it into water, but he needs a little sip of it first to make sure it's good. Come on, man. You got issues. What a mighty God we serve. All these years, something was driving me. Something I got from 3 people. Oh boy. I'm so thankful. I thank those of you who've been praying for me. Don't stop. Those prayers are working and they are needed. I need prayer. Okay, I need it. You know I do. You know I need it. You know I do. Oh boy, so now I'm Mamie Brown's baby boy. And I am, I got another closing now. This has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy, and this has been Dorothy Bell's oldest boy, and Beulah Rucker's pride and joy. Come on, I got it. I'm doing it. Yes. I got a new closing. Come on now. Come on. You can't make this stuff up. Oh boy. You can't make anybody want to know how I got here. Luther Barnes, God's grace. Don't make me sing for you. Oh, you can't listen to me while you're driving. You'll faint. You'll close your eyes and call it. Oh boy. Boy, if God doesn't do anything else for me, He's done enough. He's done enough. If He doesn't do anything else for me, He's done enough. Thank you, Lord. And if you decide to do anything else, move the cancer from my prostate to my ankle, because I don't need 2 ankles, or my elbow. I don't need 2 elbows either. In fact, I don't need to need 2 knees. Just take one of my knees, or just move it there, move the cancer there, okay? He didn't go there. He's got issues. You know, they said Dorothy Bell was funny. She could have been a comedian. My mother could have been a comedian. And a great motivational speaker she was. Could tear a piano up. I just want to share this with you. It's just on my heart. Tears of gratitude. Lord, if you don't do anything else for me, you've done enough. You've done enough. And I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. And so it is. I just thought I'd come in here and disrupt your afternoon. Hello. Today is the happiest day of my life. Did I tell you? The happiest day of my life. Tyrone said, it's true. Happiest day of my life. I've always had a prayer that one day I'll be able to see the face of my father and my mother. So April 7th, my prayer was, Father, give this to me if it's for my highest good. If not, give me its equivalent or something better for anything that I desire. That's the prayer that I put out there. And so my son Calvin, who's been searching for his grandparents for the longest, he achieved what appeared to be the impossible. I'm 76. And so I didn't think it was going to be possible. I knew that because of my age, they probably had passed. But I didn't think that what I'm about to share with you and show you, and I just want your comments on it. For the first time, here's my father. His name was Oliver Randolph, out of Gainesville, Georgia. Oliver Randolph. They said he was a sharp dresser, and the ladies liked him. I wonder where I got that from. That's him. That's Wesley and I's father, but we share some brothers here. And so this is my father. I just saw his picture for the first time because of Marielle, who's a first cousin that works for Delta Airlines. She had a picture of him from Gainesville, Georgia. And so now, I always, when I speak, I said, God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother, Mamie Brown. So here is my biological mother. Some of you in the Gainesville area and in Georgia saw my mother. She was a fierce motivational speaker. I wonder where I got that from. And they said she could play a piano so good she could make the piano walk. And not only was she a great speaker, but she also was a pianist, and she could sing. And they said she was funny. She was a comedian. Okay? I said, come on. You gotta be kidding me. Yes, and so your grandmother, Beulah Rucker, Rucker Museum, the Beulah School that taught African-American kids how to read, they said she was hungry. Listen to this, hungry to learn. And she taught herself the alphabets by reading newspapers that were used on the wall to insulate the walls in the cabinet where she stayed, taught herself to read. She went to a college and they asked for money and she held her hands out and said, "These two hands can work." And the headmaster turned her away and she came back again. Sounds familiar? She was hungry to learn and held her two hands out again and said, "These two hands can work." And so the principal, the head of the school, he let her in and she did work for him and for all the other instructors. Beulah Rucker. But here's my mother, Dorothy Bell. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. Can you believe this? That's the person that God took me out of my biological mother's womb. Yes. Hey, I told her, I want you to cue up Mama holding Wesley and I. Okay, cue that up and put that there so I can break that up. And then when Wesley and I were little boys, put those two there, put those two slides there. So that's Dorothy Bell. Dorothy Bell Rucker. That's my birth mother. Look at God. Come on, somebody. Oh my goodness. I was crying. I needed therapy. I got in bed with some Chunky Monkey ice cream. I didn't know what to feel. Oh my goodness. I've got a niece. Greer, are you there? I have a niece that she aspires to become a motivational speaker. I got a brother named George. I tell you that I met him today for the first time. He called me and I have been embraced. I was nervous with such love. Such love. I'm so thankful. I wondered how they would react to me. I'm a secret that has been exposed. Boy. Oh. Well, I didn't know. I'm just so grateful. They spoke so lovingly to me. They didn't shun me. They didn't hang up on me. George called me back. Oh boy. You know, life is, oh man, it's just got so many things happening, you know? So many things happening. But this has been incredible. I showed the pictures to my twin brother, Wesley, and he said, "Leslie, for the second time in my life, I heard these words come from my brother. I'm proud of you."
I want to know about your mom and how you were able to see her so well in the way that, this kid couldn't see his father. What was it about your mom? You've quoted Abraham Lincoln as saying, everything that I have or ever will have is a result of my mother. And you said you feel the same way. What was it about her spirit, what she did, that so impacted you?
One, I believe that she lived a heart-centered life because I don't feel I was given away. I've never done a search for my birth parents until recently, because of these various advertising on television, And this says something happened to you or some of your children, you want to know if this is something that runs in your family. But a reporter asked her one time, how did you know, as a single mother, third grade education, that you could raise 7 children by yourself? And her response was, I just felt that the Lord would make a way somehow. And so whenever I go after a goal, even though I don't have the money, even though I don't have the resources, even though I don't have the connections, I remember sending one of my messages to Gunther Rinker, who had a commercial for Tony Robbins' Personal Power every 30 minutes on television. So I sent them one of my motivational cassette tapes at that time. And they sent me a letter back, said, you got an inspiring story, but you're Black. And I wrote back and said, thank you for telling me. I never would have known that had you not reminded me. At the end of it, I wrote, I'll see you from the top. Okay. And so, because my mother, she made a way out of no way. She promised our birth mother, she said, our birth mother, Mr. Moore, said, your mother was confronted by your birth mother. I took her in Liberty City on 62nd Street in this abandoned building. And word was this lady had twins and didn't want them separated. And when I brought Mamie in there, my mother, your birth mother got up and got in her face and got close to her nose and said, are you the one? Will you take good care of my boys? And Mama said, yes. You promised never to separate them? She said, yes. You're gonna be good to them? She said, yes. I promise you, I swear to God, yes. And he said that there was a look of determination on Mama's face as she was holding us in a light blue blanket coming out of there, that she was gonna do this no matter what. So I learned to become a no matter what from my mother, and I learned the power of faith and of relationships. She never met a stranger. She would talk to anybody, talk to a telegraph post, And I admired how when things happen, that when she lost her job, she couldn't work anymore. And she started selling home brew and moonshine to keep food on the table. And she was arrested, She went to jail for us. And I was 10 years old, and they said I was an old man because I became a man then. I sold copper and aluminum at Pepper's Junkyard. I cut grass, I shined shoes, I sold newspapers to provide until Mama came back. And when she came back, because I opened the door, because this guy who came to a house, and he was what you call an undercover agent today. During that time, we called him a stew pigeon. And he said, I want to surprise your mother. Don't let her know that I'm here. I've got some friends. I want to meet her. And I opened the door, and he threw me against the wall, and he hit me. And they went in the back, and they brought Mama out in handcuffs, and She said, I told you never open the door without letting me know. And I said, I'm so sorry, Mama, I'm so sorry. And when she got out, she never mentioned it. She never brought that up. But Mama, she sacrificed. Mama, we never went to bed hungry. Mama kept a roof over our head. When she got out, she kept children, she baked sweet potato pies, she cooked for people. She found another way to generate income for us. So that's why I admire her so much.
Yeah, that's incredibly powerful. You have really lived that in your life, which is extraordinary. You told one story one time, which I was really moved by, about the by any means, being relentless, not stopping, not making excuses, selling door to door. And you and another guy started at the same time. I think it would be really powerful, especially given that context of how much your mother planted that seed in you.
Yeah, this is a time where you have to be hungry because according to the Department of Labor, over 20,000 people lose their jobs every month and being replaced by artificial intelligence. And so I used to sell television sets. So a guy named Sam Axelrod knock on the door, hello, hi, would you like to buy a good working television set? No money down. And they know you're going from door to door. And he would call the guys together when it gets so late and say, okay, we gotta go. And he would call everybody to the car. And he said, wait a minute, he counted ahead. Hey, Leslie's not here. And I could hear him saying, hey, Leslie, come on to the car. And I said, no, Sam, why not? I said, I'm not going to stop until I sell a television set. I haven't sold yet. No, nobody's sold anything yet. I don't care, Sam. I've got to do this. I made a commitment. I'm going to make enough money to put groceries on our table. And I would knock sometimes 10:30 at night. And, hi, would you like to buy a nice working television set? No money down? Do you know what time it is? Yes, I do. I'm going to buy groceries for our family. Somebody's going to buy a nice working television set from me tonight, and it might as well be you. And they say, come on in here, fool, it better be a good one. So I learned how to be unstoppable. When he came to pick the other guys up, we had to wait till they got dressed, but I would be standing out front looking for him, waiting, because I was hungry. They were getting money just to have a good time, to party on the weekend. I was earning money so that we could eat.
What would you say is, who was the most influential person in your life growing up?
My mother. Because I remember a reporter asked her when I had a talk show years ago in 1992, how did you know you could raise 7 children by yourself and you never had any kids? And she said, I just believe the Lord will make a way somehow. And one of the things I say to people, don't discount yourself. I didn't do what I'm doing now for 14 years because I didn't believe being labeled educable mentally retarded, failing in the 5th grade, put back to the 4th grade, and no college education, that I can compete with people with PhDs and MBAs. And so for 14 years, a lot of people say they have no regrets. The biggest regret that I have, that I disapproved of myself for 14 years. And then, there's a coincidence, it's God's way of staying anonymous. I went to a training and a guy was speaking. And Mike Williams had already said, hey, Brownie, you know why you go see Zig Ziglar and Dr. Robert Schuller and Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, who wrote The Power of Positive Thinking? I said, because I like the message. He said, no. He said, you like to help people. That's in you. You're always holding court here at the radio station. And you got a funny laugh, man. I said, I do? He said, yes. And so he just kept saying that to me. And I was at an event, and a guy was speaking, and it just stopped, like a spell came over him. He said, there's somebody here who should be doing this. He said, I do it because I make a lot of money. And he said, I'd love to make money. He said, but you want to change lives. And you can make money too, young man, young lady. And he said, you know who you are. And then he paused again. He said, the reason I'm standing up here holding this microphone and you are seated out there, I represent the thoughts you have rejected for yourself. That hit me right between the eyes. I began to cry. At that time, this is in 1980. Wow. I went outside. I called Mike Williams. The telephone call was a dime then. I said, Mike. He said, yes. I said, I'm not rejecting myself anymore. Do you hear me? He said, Brownie, calm down. Listen to me, man. I'm not rejecting myself anymore. I said, will you help me? One of the things I teach, ask for help. Not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong. And ask for help. And don't stop until you get it. He's a strategist, and he came down to Liberty City when I was there. I was elected to the Ohio legislature. I was the chairman of the Human Resource Committee, the Education Committee. I passed 14 bills my first term, and I resigned to come back to take care of my mother. I refused to allow my brothers and sisters to put her in a nursing home. They said, oh, we found a nice nursing home. I said, oh, hell no. She raised us. We're going to take care of her. And so I gave up my political ambitions, and then I was trying to find something that I can do that will allow me to be available to her and earn money too. And so I moved into this area of motivational speaking and took care of her until she passed.
Wow. What would you say? Now, you didn't have a father figure growing up? Or
No. I had a sperm donor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I've never known my birth mother or father. And
still to
my
this day,
mother,
I know.
No, and I never did a search. My mother's, Mamie Brown, I used to have a talk show, and I said, this has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. Her love was so encompassing. I never wanted to do a search for my birth parents. After she passed, I became curious because when I had a talk show, I asked a young lady, I was doing something on adoption, and I said, what has been most challenging part of your life experience of being adopted? I'm adopted too. And she said, my birthday. I said, why? She said, on my birthday, I know that my mother thinks about me. And I said, whoa. I left the show, went and called my twin brother. I said, Wesley. He said, what? I said, do you know what? He said, what? I said, do you know our mother think about us every February the 17th? He said, you called me about that? I said, yes. He said, you need to do some damn push-ups and hug up. He said he hated him. I said, how can you hate our parents? We don't even know him. We don't have a face. We don't have a target to hate. He said, I hate him and hug up again. Yeah, so that just never moved me. It's just, I am just, when people saw me as a kid, they called me Mamie's boy. Because my mother could talk to a tree. She was very friendly and outgoing person. She loved children, but she never had any herself.
What would you say is the greatest lesson that your father taught you, even though you never met him?
I don't know. I mean,
with his absence, is there lessons?
At Father's Day, I gave my mother a Father's Day card. I used to be on radio in Chicago. And Father's Day, I said, I'm doing an event for fathers who provide and protect. And I'm inviting mothers who serve as fathers and leave the sperm donors at home. That was very controversial, but we had a full house. I never thought about that because she was strong. She had faith. She was unstoppable. She was relentless. My mother, she made a way out of no way. I saw her go through some challenging experience, raising 7 children by herself. She, when she couldn't work anymore, had arthritis, she wrote numbers and sold moonshine and homebrew, and she went to jail for a period of time, and she only had a 3rd grade education, but she had a PhD when it came to life. And
I was 10. I became a man then. And so I remember when I was with her, when she passed on my youngest son's birthday. And I remember holding her hand when she took her last breath. And I said, I thank you for choosing us. I never felt that I was given away. I always felt that I was chosen with love. And I said, I'm going to make you proud that you chose us. So when I speak, I think about her and the tough times we went through. And I tell people, you're going to face tough times. You know, my favorite book says, think it not strange that you're faced the fiery furnaces of this world. But I affirm, no matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. And I heard her say that she was determined we will always have a roof over our head, food on the table, and clothes on our back. And she was able to make a way out of no way. And so she has always been my father and my mother figure. That's all I know. Mr. Washington was a surrogate father for me. I've got some young men who they see me as their spiritual father, and he taught me, Mr. Brown, develop your mind. You don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. Mr. Brown, practice OQP, only quality people. Who you run with determines who you end up with. Mr. Brown, yes, sir, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. And so he became like a surrogate father. I watched how he dressed. As you look at me, I have navy blue, I have a red tie and a white shirt, and that's how he dressed when he went to school. You go to schools now, you can't tell the students from the teachers.
Right.
Okay, yes. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow, sounds like an amazing mother.
Yes, she was an
parent.
amazing, very amazing parent. Yes,
Wow.
she was.
What would you say is the greatest lesson she taught you?
Never give up. I remember when she was very ill, and she, at that time, doctors would come to the house, Dr. Johnson, and he said, Mamie, you hold on now. And she said, I will, because I can't leave these children here by themselves. So she wasn't even thinking about herself. She was thinking about us. And so when I was diagnosed with cancer, and it was like 6 years ago in Orlando, the oncologist said that cancer metastasized to 7 areas of my body. I started smiling, and this guy said, did you hear what I just said? I said, yes. He said, are you in denial? I said, man, do you know 7 is my lucky number? I said, that cancer's getting the hell beat out of it now. He said, you are crazy. And so at that time, my PSA was 2,400. Now it's 0. And I'm about to get a new procedure next week where they draw out your white blood cells and train them for 2 weeks and inject it back in you and give those white blood cells the capacity to identify cancer cells and kill them. So you see, all this stuff is just advanced, but your mindset, the biology of belief. You know, Bruce Lifton, I practice psychoneuroimmunology. Your mindset, your diet, and positive relationships, giving yourself a healing, nurturing environment strengthens your immune system and allows you to stay here longer and do your great work. One of the things I ask people when we're training, what's your strategy for being here? You have to have a game plan. Being here is not a given, and I don't think doctors should tell people that you're terminally ill. What I think they should say is, my knowledge and ability to help you has terminated. Now you need to explore some other options.
Right.